Chapter 3 is coming to a close and Chapter 4 is right on its way. With the live event being fractured and Chapter 4 coming with this event, I thought the perfect idea to make a tier list of all the Chapter 3 seasons we had since Chapter 3 is coming to a close. So let's just get right into the video. I'm going to go and rank this real quick and that's going to end it. I'm just kidding. Honestly though, this chapter has felt decent and I'm going to go through and tell you why. So be sure to watch this video if you guys are interested in seeing what I think. By the way, just ignore all these other seasons. We're only going to do the Chapter 3 ones. Let's get right into it. Now, obviously, this chapter started off with Season 1. A pretty good season, honestly. The Battle Pass is probably one of the best. I really liked everyone we had in, including Ronin, the Foundation, Spider-Man, and lots of awesome, really cool skins that I still use. I really liked the whole Spider-Man collab with the Spider-Man mythics. The loot pool was not good. They had to make a lot of adjustments, but I will say, the MK7, that was amazing. Please bring that back. I loved it. I really liked the snow. I loved the Christmas. I liked the Clombos. I love Tilted. I really liked the updates they had in this season, and the Winterfest event as well was just probably the best one. This season overall was probably one of the best, if not the best, of this chapter. There was just a lot of content in it and I enjoyed it a ton. I think everyone else did too, and I mean, again, there was a lot of content and it just felt like a great season. But this season with its battle pass and all the amazing gameplay features like Spider-Man mythics, the tornadoes, the weather, the Clombos, all of that stuff, constant updates with new unvaulted weapons and stuff, awesome content like keycards, mythics, bosses. I mean, it was such a good season. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put this one in not awesome, but I think good. And we might actually move it up to awesome. I loved that season. Okay, so then moving on to Season 2. There wasn't much teasers for this. I think it was just because of the events going on in real life. And speaking of those, they also started off the season donating tons of money to Ukraine, which was amazing. I really like what they did there. Now, the overall battle pass was not my favorite. I don't really like any of the skins, except for Origin and maybe Prowler, but I don't use any of the rest. Now this season started off with no builds, and no builds is probably one of, if not the best things they've ever added. Tons of people came back to the game, and that was such a good choice. It was a bit risky on Epic's part, but it worked out amazingly. Now that was the biggest thing of the season, I would say. The loot pool in the season was very unbalanced. The Combat SMG, the Stinger SMG, the Ranger Shotgun, the Drum Shotgun, it was way too spammy, especially with the tanks and the turrets and all the overpowered stuff they added. It was very hard to win in this season. It wasn't very hard, but it just felt so intense. And I think that's what they're going for with the war season. I like the battle buses, I like the tanks, but they were way too OP, and it was very hard to win in this season. I did like the voting boards though. That always keeps the game feeling fresh. It just felt too spammy and too overpowered. If you didn't have this certain weapon, you couldn't win. Basically, if you didn't have a combat SMG, you were dead. So that is something I really did not like about this season. I did like the wars they did though, where you'd have to fight against IO guards and you reclaim POIs. But I would say throughout the content felt dry and zero builds was the best part. Now this season did end off with the collision event, which was a very cool event. I will say I did like that, and the build up to that was super fun. I did like that a lot. So with zero builds, the live event, and everything being extremely overpowered and content kind of dry, this season is controversial for sure. I'm gonna have to put this out. Now I put this down in bad, but because they helped out Ukraine and stuff, I'm gonna put that up in okay. I just don't know, man, it did not hit. But with every live event, there's always an aftermath, and the aftermath of that live event was Season 3. Probably the most hated season of this chapter, and let me give you my opinion on it. Now, when we first started, I loved this season. I loved the biome, I loved the slurp bounty mushrooms, I loved how you could ride animals, the screwballer cluster with the ballers coming back was super fun. I really liked the DMR, I loved all the new weapons except for the 2-shot, and it was just so fun. I mean, I really liked all the content. I was super excited about the summer event, which we'll get into in a second. Now, the battle pass was probably one of my favorites, to be honest. I like Snap, I like Adira, I like Stormfarer, and I love Darth Vader. This was a solid battle pass. Now, throughout the season, though, we didn't get much updates until one of the first updates dropped. This brought the reality tree, summoning tons of different POIs to change, and bringing in OG POIs. This was cool at first until they started bringing in the same 4 POIs, including Coral Castle, and it just got tiring. And I mean, we've had about a month of every update just changing up a POI, and that was not very fun. That kept content dry forever. And then, if content was dry already, they released a summer update, which a lot of people thought would save the game, but almost ended up killing it. The summer event was not that good. We only had quests in Ice Cream, and that was it. We had unvaults, but like, bro, we had nothing cool that was new. Ice Cream didn't change up the game at all. Obviously, the quests just gave free rewards, which, I mean, the free rewards were... I don't know about that. I didn't like that a ton. Then the Indiana Jones update came out with the grapple glove and all that kind of stuff, and I really did like that update. I liked the boulder, I liked the POI, it was very cool. Overall though, the loophole in this season felt pretty The charge SMG was terrible, and that also took up a whole nother update. I mean, throughout it was very dry with no new content. But to be honest, I think it got hated on a little too much, because although it was dry, I did like it. I still liked it. And while we may have not gotten much content, I had fun in it. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that up at okay. Passing this one though. We were in season 3, and all of a sudden there were strange teasers and leaks of something coming. We didn't know what it was though, but we knew it was some sort of liquid invading the island. And that was later revealed to be Crow. Teasers were going everywhere, and the season was super hype, and then the season obviously released. Like my first game, it felt dry, and then my second game, I really got into the action, and I had tons of fun. I played for like 3 hours straight. I really liked the chroma splashes. The loophole finally felt good in the season with the lever action and the prime, and lots of unvaulted kind of weapons that we were familiar with. The hammer assault rifle just felt so clean to use. Now the battle pass, I loved it when it came out, but I kind of don't like it much anymore. I could see only me using Paradigm, and that's it. that's it for sure. That's it. So there was that. We had the first update, which brought in Grim Gables, which was very unexpected, and I loved that update. We had the blimp moving, we had the keys and the vaults, and everything near the beginning of the season for the first 2 weeks was amazing. Like, there was a lot of content at the beginning until suddenly that stopped. It got dry, and then Fortnitemares came out, and that was okay, but we only really had wolf claws. We had some POI changes, we had a boss, and that was about it. Skins that came out were cool, but that Fortnitemares event did not help the dry we had in the middle of this. Then we had the Star Wars update, and for Star Wars fans, this was massive. We had the return of tons of Star Wars skins, the original trilogy main trio, tons of Star Wars stuff involved, including the pulse rifle, which isn't even a Star Wars weapon, but a lot of people liked that. And that was super fun until it got vaulted a week after. And then we were back to the same old thing. We had the dialogue drop, and now we're just waiting for the final update. Obviously, I can't give a total rating until we know what the final update is, but this season so far has been amazing. So after rating this, I've noticed that this just feels like, I feel like this one I'm just hating on too much, but up here it feels like it's in the right spot, and I think this one should belong in good. I think this feels perfect to me. I love this season. This season is probably my second favorite. This season got hated on too much, but I could see why people are hating on it. And honestly, this one was probably my least favorite just because of how overpowered everything was. But even then, it wasn't that bad because of zero builds and stuff. Obviously, this is just my opinion, but I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys agree with my tier list? Do you guys not agree with it? And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.